Hi friends, I hope that you are having a good day today. In today's video, I am going to be reading a chapter, the first chapter of a story that I wrote as a way to ease myself back into making YouTube videos, and I thought this would be fun. I wanted to see how the story feels when read aloud because reading it to yourself is obviously going to feel a little different. This story is going to feature adult elements, but this particular video will not. This first chapter does not have anything like that. I mostly just want to find a way to ease myself back into making videos because over the course of the last couple of weeks, I've primarily made my Patreon videos and not many more, but I do want to get back into making more videos and also diversifying the amount of things that I make videos on little by little. There are two titles for the story. The version in the Google Docs that I have where I'm writing it is called Elementalist in Vaporwave City, and over on the websites where it is published, it's going to be called An Elementalist is New in Town and It Gets Worse. If you are curious as to why it went to the Isekai School of Long Names, that is actually a reference to a John Mulaney bit that I really like. If you've never heard it, you definitely should. I very much enjoy it. That said, we are now going to go ahead and get into the narration. Let's go! Instinct sucks. That is the pertinent realization I am now coming to grips with as pain courses through my body. I don't dare try to move even a centimeter, since doing so would undoubtedly amplify the slowly growing wave of pain racking every nanometer of my body. I hear the sounds of the truck that hit me coming to a stop as I gaze helplessly at the blue sky above me. Under other circumstances, I think I'd love this clear, unobstructed view of the cloudless sky, but right now the view feels... It feels like a wall in a prison cell with the way it evokes helplessness. I can't move and all I can see is the featureless sky. I can faintly hear confused voices wondering what to do as a distant figure shouts that he is calling for an ambulance. The figure falls silent for a second before he begins to shout that someone saved his daughter from a speeding truck and in doing so got hit by the truck and is now motionless on the ground. As the pain grows in intensity, which it does with the passage of even faint milliseconds, it becomes harder for me to focus and remain present. After what feels like a short eternity, a stranger enters my limited field of view with an impish grin on his face. As I study him, I wonder if he's the driver of the truck, but I have no way of confirming whether or not that suspicion is true. "Hi. You look like you're in a rough spot," he says, smugly. If I could, I think I'd flip him off. He laughs, and unless he's just an asshole, I can't fathom why he's laughing. The sound is hoarse and a bit frightening. "You've got funny thoughts, kid, and an attitude." "I like that," the man says, continuing to look at me, his grin beginning to turn predatory. I hear his words and consider them before dismissing the idea that this man is supernatural. I must be making a face or something that lets him know what I'm thinking. Still, it's weird how no one is commenting on the man or telling him to get away from me. "Normally, I like to play around more, but I think you've been through a lot, so I'm about to level with you," he says as his expression changes and he suddenly turns serious. "You're going to die here. It's only because of my intervention that you're alive right now. I liked your instincts, so I've decided to offer you a way out," he remarks, and for reasons I can't intelligently articulate, I think he believes he's telling the truth. I don't believe he's correct, at least about the parts other than my impending death, but I can see conviction in his eyes, and a strange certainty about him. I can't bring myself to speak, as I know if I do I'll only amplify the pain I feel. "Not talking is smart. You don't need to speak to accept my deal. Do you want to live? If you do, I'll fix your body and toss you out of here. No guarantees your body will be exactly the same as it was before, but I can promise I won't make you worse," he tells me, and this time I manage to faintly roll my eyes in disbelief. This makes the man guffaw in delight. "Even at death's door you manage to snark at the one person offering you a non-lethal way out. Incredible stuff, kid," he quips. "Still, I need an answer. Just think your answer, little man. Don't try to speak it. Do you want to live?" he asks, and I see a strange seriousness fill his eyes as he waits for me to respond. For a moment, the strange, alien confidence the man has in his abilities makes me wonder if he's able to do what he says. Pain is still filling me up, still eating away at my consciousness. If the man can do what he says he can. Yeah, I want to live. I don't want my instincts to have led me to my death, even though I can't bring myself to regret what I did. I want to live. Excellent, and good luck, the man says as he begins to faintly glow. I feel my eyes begin to shut, and I try to keep them open, but it doesn't work. For a split second, all I can see is darkness brought on by my eyelids shutting. Before I can process this, I feel the ground give way beneath me, and I am suddenly, keenly aware that I am falling through the air. I forcefully wrench my eyes open, and what I see confirms what I was feeling. I am flying, falling, and I can see a distant ocean below me. Shit! I roar as I approach the ocean. I am still hundreds, maybe even a few thousand feet above the ocean, but that doesn't help. I feel wickedly cold wind whipping past me as I move closer and closer to the water with every passing millisecond. If I hit the water at this speed, it'll be bad. I don't have time to appreciate the fact that I'm not in pain anymore, as I'm about to be in a lot of pain if I don't do something to slow my descent. I gaze at the water before deciding that I need to concentrate, and so I shut my eyes to allow myself to not see what is rushing towards me. I attempt to think of a way out of this as I continue to feel the frigid air hit me, and I suddenly feel something strange occur. The sensation of falling suddenly stops. Everything stops. For a brief moment, I wonder if I've died, and this dark oblivion is what comes next, before I realize that I'm still thinking. I cautiously open my eyes, and I still only see water below me. What I don't see is the water getting closer. I blink in confusion before I realize that I must be floating. Somehow, I've stopped falling. How? I ask myself as I mentally replay everything that has transpired since I was hit by the truck. I freeze when I recall what the weird guy told me. He said he'd fix my body, but didn't guarantee it'd be the same as before. All he said is that it wouldn't be worse. Is this what he meant? I allow myself to hover for a moment longer, grateful for the first reprieve I've had since I was hit by that damn truck. After hovering motionlessly for a few moments, I attempt to orient myself. I am currently horizontal, and I was falling through the air flatly rather than vertically. I move and twist through the air, seemingly unbound by gravity, as I move until I am positioned so that I am floating like a superhero would be if they were hovering in the air instead of actively flinging themselves to the skies. I then attempt to experiment with true movement. I take a beat to move myself directly upward, willing my body in the direction I want to go, and then try to gently descend. I am delighted to find that I can do both of these things easily and without any sort of mental or physical strain. I'm not just capable of hovering. I can fly, I exclaim breathlessly. I smile as I relax and finally take in the full scope of my surroundings. Ahead of me, all I can see is water in the sky, a seemingly endless ocean, at least as far as it stretches directly in front of me. I mutter that that's not great before I turn around and pause as I take in a vastly different sight I can now see. In this new direction, the ocean extends for a long while before giving way to a beach. Behind that beach is a city that looks remarkably like the backdrop someone would use for one of those 90s Vaporwave videos from YouTube. I sigh in relief as I begin to move towards the city. I float through the air at about the same speed that I can walk, not bothering to try and move fast, for perhaps 40 minutes before I find myself only hundreds of feet above the sandy beach. As I move closer to it, I realize that it is late afternoon here, and the sun is rapidly descending. There's also no one on the beach, so when I land, I'm all alone. The distant sounds of city life fill the air, and as I look out at the city, I can see distant cars obeying the whims of traffic, as well as pedestrians on a large boardwalk between the beach and the city. I begin to march towards the boardwalk, curious as to how I was able to avoid notice, but also not unhappy about that. I don't know how people would react if they saw someone who could fly, and I'd rather not find out. At the same time, faint concerns begin to become louder and more prominent in my mind as I get closer and closer to civilization. As I draw nearer and nearer to the boardwalk, I quietly realize that I should thank the stranger who somehow saved my life. I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to do so, though. I manage to reach the boardwalk and smile as the words of faint voices become clearer and clearer, and as I manage to hear the conversations other people are having. I'm grateful when I realize that I can fully understand what the people are saying, which was a concern I had in the back of my mind when I realized that I was actually shunted to some new place. The stranger did everything he said he would. When I set foot on the boardwalk, I realize that while my life is not in any immediate danger anymore, I am still a stranger in a new city with truly nothing to my name. I need to do something, so I begin to study the environment I'm in, looking for someone who might be able to help. This allows me to take stock of my current situation and realize just how out of my depth I am. I'm going to need as much help as I can get, since I see food stands on the boardwalk and pat my pockets only to realize that I have nothing in them. I have no ID, wallet, apartment keys, or anything. I'm going to have to fake amnesia or something to explain why I'm even walking around like this. On the one hand, I'm alive and not in pain. On the other hand, I am completely unequipped, and the only real advantage I have other than being alive is being able to fly. I may even have other abilities, but if I do, they have not made themselves known to me. Great. The chapter ends with our protagonist quietly thinking, great, to themselves. I really liked this video. I think it was fun to narrate and to see how this chapter would sound if read aloud. I am going to be trying to get back into making videos and stuff, and I'm honestly just so excited to be back. I very much enjoy making videos, but obviously real life is real life, and it's sometimes difficult for me to find the balance that I like to strike. But I do think that reading a chapter of a story is fun. I think it's neat to see how it feels to read a story aloud versus how it feels to just think it and then play it through in your head. Because for me, when I am reading, I am picturing things and I'm feeling things. When I read, I don't just sit there and feel the words. I sit there and I picture things like I am in a movie theater watching a movie, or I'm streaming a show on Netflix. And I think that that's really neat. That's part of the reason why it is that I enjoy writing so much. I feel like actually sitting down and reading this aloud was definitely a surreal experience, but it also feels good. It reminds me of some of the things that I like and some of the things that I don't like about my writing style, so I appreciate the chance to sit down and to read this aloud with friends. I hope that you all are doing well. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. It's nice to be back, and I can't wait until I can film more videos with you all. Bye-bye!